Whew. All right, guys. So we are live, and it is Black Friday, which, if you're not familiar, I'm not sure if well, I know for sure Thanksgiving isn't an international holiday, but for those of you who don't know, Thanksgiving essentially is a day that celebrates America, and you basically and discovering of America. Not that America was technically discovered, but that's really where it came from. And the following day is Black Friday. So a happy Black Friday, happy Thanksgiving to everybody who's there. I normally do my weekend live streams on the weekend, but since I have a 4-day week and I'm available right now, here we are on Friday doing Saturday's live stream. So, so what I like to do is I like to once a week be able to answer questions and shoot the shit, and we can talk about whatever. If you guys don't have any questions, I'll talk about some of the things that are in my mind as a developer, as a content creator. Hello, everyone. Hello, Christ-centered dev. So it also gives us I'd like to switch up the times on occasion because not everyone can make it on Saturday evenings or mornings or whenever I want. Do it. Just wanted to know, does April still code? No, right now she's learning project management. She's actually enrolled in about 3 or 4 courses in project management that are about a week apart. So when she was and the rest of our company was laid off, she was able to get unemployment and also a grant to pay for some courses in project management. So that's the direction she's going right now. When she lands a project manager role, I will try and teach her a little bit about architecture and a little bit about maybe some of the tools that she'll actually use in the real world, such as Confluence and Jira, so that she can be a good project manager. That's kind of my goal, because I think the hardest thing for project managers a lot of times is not being technical, and so although they project managers' roles are really to communicate requirements to the stakeholders and to the developers to make priorities, but it's also hard for them to guide things sometimes when they don't fully understand what it is that they're guiding. And that's why as a developer, you could go and get a project manager role like that if you ever got sick of developing. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so she hasn't been studying code. She's been focused on project management. She's been studying that, and she has a test for a certificate she was working on, and then she got this grant, which will give her money for the courses that she's enrolled. What's a good way for her to ask for an extension on a project deadline? Just tell them sooner than later. That's my thing. Sooner than later is the truth, right? So you don't want to be the day that they're expecting something to be delivered, go, hey, hold up. By the way, don't got it. Let's talk about it. So usually in a work environment, you'll have stand-ups every day or every other day. And that's really up to you to say, hey, I'm having issues doing this. This is actually a lot more work than I was expecting. We didn't realize that there was some back end that needed to be altered. And, I only do front end, or there's some front end, I only do back end. We got to pull somebody in. Whatever it is, I'm sure you have your reasons. It's up to you to clearly communicate ahead of time during those stand-ups or during those meetings or whatever it is. So, yeah. But that's really what you should do. Project manager for a tech company, that's the idea. Yes. So one of the things that I've been working on is I've been saying, if you've been watching a few of these live streams, I'm going to deep dive into Angular and deep dive into JavaScript. So what I've been doing is I've been going through all of the JavaScript documentation. I'm not done yet. It has been a very long process. I did this 4 days straight for about 3 hours or 2 hours at a time, and I'm actually filming 1 to 2 minute videos about, like, let's say string methods, how to use it, what it does. And that will actually be uploaded on a separate channel. So if you're interested in that, I'll have a video coming out and I'll link to it. And the reason I'm just putting on a separate channel is just for, I don't necessarily think it's super relevant to what I'm trying to do on this channel. It is something in software. I just think it might putting out 500 videos that are a minute long, 2 minutes long, that I don't expect to get a lot of views. But I'm also probably going to put into a course as well. So if you want it all in one package, breaking down documentation and deep diving into JavaScript, that's why I'm filming it. And I'll release a little piece every day of the videos. That's how I plan on doing it. So you can get all the course at once, or you can wait 500 days to get all the videos. But that's another side project that I'm currently working on. What do you think about wannabe junior devs starting a blog to talk about their learning journey? I think it's an excellent way to get started on a side project. I think eventually you will need to probably do something technical side projects, but I think at the very beginning it shows that you're eager, that you're interested, and that you're contributing to the community. Have I ever freelanced? I have, way back in the day when I was doing like WordPress development and minor HTML and CSS changes. What are some of the best sources you learned Angular? Honestly, Udemy and YouTube, and just building projects, man. Once you build projects, things start clicking in. I didn't use the Angular CLI for like creating components and stuff like that. I just entered it in manually so I could kind of fully understand how everything connected, and helped me memorize what's in there. And so I'm not super dependent. I found that very helpful as well. Like Angular CLI has a lot of great tools in it. I use it to start the project, right? Because I ain't doing that. But I'm talking about like when you want to generate a new component, how it all connects, where it goes. That was something, what files it should create. That was something that I do manually. Thank you, Roberto. This is the first day. So this is the first day in, God, I don't know, maybe 9 months that I haven't had 3 videos a week go out. For those of you who keep track in Eastern time, I usually have 1 video Monday, 1 video Wednesday, and 1 video Friday. And I actually didn't have topic today. So I don't know. I might be cutting back to 1 or 2 videos a week. I'm kind of running out of things to talk about right now. So one thing I will say about the blog post, by the way, is that I had somebody who asked a similar question. They said, well, I'm going to do 1 blog a day. Let me just say, for you as a developer, you need to be studying more than anything else. Now, it is great that you're going to write a blog post. May I suggest that you write 1 blog post every week, just 1 a week, and go from there. That's more so better than anything else. Random question: do you like Florida? I like Florida. I would say so. It's all relative. Let me put it this way: how much did I like California on a scale of 1 to 10? About a 3. That's where I spent the rest of my life. Florida for me is about a 7.5. So a significant increase in happiness. And there's a few things that fall into that for me that make that massive jump, right? So I like it 2.5 times. If we were to throw a California, might even been a 2. So I would say, so I'm very happy in Florida in comparison. And part of that was the cost of living, the taxes, and the traffic. So that is those are the 3 main things that were important to me. Now, I make a lot more money now than I did when I was living in California, but I don't think it would have had that much of an impact. The traffic still would have been bad. The cost of living would still been high, and the taxes would have been high. So I could just tell you that myself personally, I'm much happier in Florida, but it's all relative to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. What's a good project to build when trying to learn a new technology? It depends if you're trying to learn front end or back end. If you're doing full stack, You should probably implement some sort of API or CRUD with it. I have seen the Java Humble Book Bundle, and I think that it's a great deal for $15 or $1 or $5. So it just kind of depends. Oh, but I think if there's any Android books on there, it's probably, I think they were O'Reilly, if I remember correctly. So Christopher Pica says the StarCraft shirt. Yeah, thank you. And I think it depends on Cali, such as everywhere. Yeah, so California is pretty much, I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in the South Bay. I lived in the Inland Empire. It's all expensive. It really doesn't matter where you go. It's all expensive. I could tell you that for the apartment I have here, I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment here. It's about 1,400 square feet. It's got all the amenities that you would imagine. We have a gym, we have a pool. I have a in the apartment laundry setup, and I also have a laundry room and all that sort of stuff. And the same sort of setup would probably be 2 to 2.5 times the cost in most of California. Do you Florida people eat turkey for Thanksgiving or alligator? You know, alligator would have been good, but I actually treated April and I to some lobster tail. Have I made a video on the ES6 arrow function syntax? Not yet. It definitely will be in the JavaScript deep dive course. One second, gents. I have to use the little boys' room. Let's see here. What did I miss? Is there another state you want to move that might help your tech career? So I'm very happy at where I'm at. But the next job that I would take that would steal me away ever would probably be Amazon, Google, Facebook, a company like that you can't say no to. Amazon reached out to me in the past. Unfortunately, I didn't pass the second technical interview a while back, but they're in Seattle. Facebook and Google are pretty much everywhere, but mainly in San Fran, right? So that'd probably be the only way that I would go back to California. But eventually, maybe I plan on settling down in Portland where my brother is there and whatnot. Of course I wash my hands, man. I'm a civilized individual. But honestly, I don't really care where I live as long as there's low taxes, high incomes, low cost of living, and low traffic. That's really it. What do I think about Go versus Node? I honestly don't know enough about Go or Node to compare it. I enjoy Node because I can tell you it's very easy. It's just JavaScript. If I were to move back to California ever, let's say I got a job in San Francisco, because that's realistically probably where I would end up. I would have to have a stupidly high salary for one, and two, I'd live very close to where I worked, and it'd probably cost a lot of money, but that would be what I would do. My brother got a CS degree a few years back and took some years off after graduating to travel and do other things. Now he wants to get back into it. How hard would it be for him now? Well, he has a CS degree. He might be able to land an internship, but he's going to have to study. Yeah. You know, I would tell him to jump on Free Code Camp, jump on Code Fights, start solving algorithms in his language of choice, and just get back into the habit, because there are going to be a lot of things that he's going to have forgotten, some skills and stuff like that, to go from there. Yeah, it would probably take me. I don't know. At this point in my career, if I was to go to SF specifically, I would probably want $150,000 to $200,000 based off the cost of living that's there and everything else that goes along with it. I could tell you a while back, I had a contract role offered to me after a very long interview process at Levi's for $120,000, and I turned that down because it wasn't enough money for where it was, which was in the financial district of SF. The youngest coder I've ever met, I could tell you that like a 9-year-old messaged me and wanted to like stay in touch on who's building websites and stuff like that. But ever met in person, like in the working world, I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that. What type of salary should a junior dev be able to get in Portland? It kind of depends what technologies you're working in, but honestly, I would just look up, like if we said junior front end developer, Portland, Oregon salary. But I would say kind of the standard, I think, for a junior developer is about 55, 60 on the low end. The average salary for a junior developer in Portland, Oregon is $63,419, according to Glassdoor, as of November 2017. So, yeah, about 60,000 would probably be right for a junior developer. I feel ashamed working as a front-end developer with a CS degree. Even 9-year-olds do it now. I don't know, man. I can tell you, I personally think front-end is harder than back-end. Now, the reason I say that is because there's a lot more moving parts with the front-end than there is back-end developers. And front-end development means a lot of different things. So, like, yes, 9-year-olds are doing front-end development, but what are they really doing? Are they doing static HTML and CSS sites, and are they very good? Probably not. Are they doing JavaScript? Probably not. Are they using the latest JavaScript frameworks? And, you know, probably not, right? So, are they updating their Wix pages? Maybe. But backend, in my opinion, is not really that difficult. It's essentially storing data and routing data to and from. That is how I see back end. Well, you have to kind of do a lot of different things in front end. Do you think that the closing of recent boot camps mean the market is starting to change when it comes to demand for web developers? No, I think what you're seeing are a lot of organizations that tried to get into this business model, and then essentially what happened was you had a consolidation of good companies and bad companies. And I also don't think I did a video about why, kind of answering this question, said why are coding boot camps shutting down. And my personal opinion is I don't think it's a business that can scale. And so when you see these boot camps that are getting up to like 12, 15 locations, that is a very hard thing to scale, and especially over time. And also what's happening is you have colleges now that are having their own boot camps and essentially doing that money grab because they're losing students who would be CS students who are going to these college coding boot camps. Let me grab some tea, guys. Do you think it's a good idea to go back to college at age 26? Yes, if that's what you want to do. It also depends on where you want to progress in your career. And I say that as somebody who just sent his transcripts into Western Governors University at age 30 to go and finish his degree as well. So I not because I can't become a senior developer. I'll be a senior developer in a year to 2 years. And in terms of on my actual resume, it's more so to become an architect, to make more money, to work at a company like Google. Can someone with no prereqs finish WGU in a year or two with a bachelor in software engineering? You'd probably have to talk to them about that, but you can if it's your full-time gig. I know that the program is set up so that you can finish as many courses as fast as you can. And some people have done it in as little as 6 months, right? On there, it says that the average graduate graduates six months to 2 years. But in order to be able to enroll in that program, there's certain requirements that you have to adhere to. What is your opinion of full stack developer? Jack of all trades, master of none? Sort of. I mean, that's kind of what people look at full stack as. But I think it also depends on what sort of company you're working at. So here's the thing is like smaller companies want full stack developers on average. They need you to be able to do a lot of different things, and that's okay. And when you get your career started, it helps to be that way so that you can get going and you can maybe make yourself a little bit more broadly skilled to be more broadly hireable. And but I think what happens is as you progress more into your career, you become a little bit more of a specialist. And a lot of those full stack developers go and be front end developers or back end developers or whatever it is and go from there. What am I drinking? Unsweetened black tea. Can I make a website with only Flash or Django? I don't know. Do you think the wages for CS are justifiable? If so, what is the primary thing that justifies wages? Supply and demand. The fact of the matter is that there's so many developer jobs with skill sets and very specific things. Like let's say there are enough developers on average. How many developers have the years of experience, and how many developers are skilled in the things that someone's looking for them to be skilled in? And the answer is few to none. People who already have jobs. That's why you get stealed away so often. That's why you can leave. That's why the average developer leaves after a year and a half. So the fact of the matter is very few people can code, and that you can make the argument that there's an influx of junior developers, but there's so few senior developers and so few good developers that there's definitely a shortage in that aspect. Yeah, and so Kelvin makes a good point, is that some of these full stack developers, they mainly do front end or they mainly do back end, but they do dive in, and that they do dive into one or the other on occasion when needed. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing, guys. It's like I study every single day, and I will for about another 3 to 4 years. And then I'll probably chill out, I think. But very few people do. I can tell you that the majority of every coworker I've ever had, I think I can safely say about 95% don't. So if you do, and you're one of the good ones, and you continue to study and you continue to progress, you'll definitely be a better developer than most. But not everybody does. As a matter of fact, most people don't. Most people, after they get their first junior job, they might study the first 2-3 months and then give up. The primary reason for high wages is pointers. Pointers as it. What do you mean pointers? The primary reason for it is because it's a skilled position in which very few people can fill it. Yes, if you study while you're there, you'll succeed more than the average guy. You definitely you'll be a better developer, which will make you more hireable. Am I going to go to college while having a full-time job? Yes. I either will be starting January 1st or February 1st. It depends on if they're able to process my transcripts on time. I'm crazy? Why am I crazy, man? Full-time student. Full-time at home. Software engineering. It just means that I have to cut back on studying on other things. That's all. So like YouTube might take a little bit of a hit. Side projects might take a bit of a hit. But that might be it. It's a bachelor's. Bachelor's. Do I ever think about creating my own dev company? No, I think the closest I would get to that is maybe just being a contractor or freelancer. Guys, I wake up here. Let me tell you how my schedule goes. So every morning I wake up at about 6:45, sometimes 6:30. Lately I've been waking up at 6, and I hop in the shower, and then for an hour plus I sit down here and I work on YouTube and I study. After that I go to work and I work 9, and I show up to work usually about 30 minutes early, and I watch Angular tutorials. After that I work for about 9 hours. I come home, I eat, I shower, and I sit back down here 3 to 4 hours to work on YouTube, to study, to build side projects, and continue going on. And on the weekends, I do the same thing on my days off with probably about 4 hours a day, I would say, on average. And then I run errands and do everything else that I need to do. So what I'm trying to say is there is time. I just have to take away my study time, my side project time, and go from that and do just fine. Oh, my Udemy course, it's just a single Angular project where you build a portfolio. It doesn't cover all the Angular language, but it goes from there. Am I planning on doing some object-oriented PHP in the future? God, I hope not. If I'm doing PHP, something went majorly wrong in the career path, guys. Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I did PHP at my last job. I hated it. Do you ever feel like you know a huge smelly load of programming stuff and little about other subjects? How do you balance your knowledge? You mean balance my knowledge in software? I mean, I could tell you what I'm knowledgeable in. I'm knowledgeable in JavaScript to a degree, right? And it's not to say like I'm a coding god or anything. I'm just saying if you were to say, hey Dylan, what are the things that you think you could speak intelligently about? One would be software, specifically web development. Another would be maybe the UFC, not even MMA, but specifically the UFC because that's one of my side projects. I could talk a little bit about RPG gaming and classic video gaming. I could also talk about anime, and I think we're done. So that's about it, right? Those are the things that I have knowledge about. But that would be what I do. Do you feel that a lot of skilled people are wasted in web development? Wasted? No, I mean I think web development is one of the biggest fields because it's one of the most used. So I don't think you could use the term wasted. Mark Rader has the right idea. So he says, exactly. Someone offers me PHP or a short rope and a high branch. I'm probably picking the short rope and high branch. Oh my god! At least someone knows how it feels like. Woo. Any suggestions to a PHP alternative? You can do Node. You can do C#, .NET. It all depends. Oh. Oh man. So one of the things I've been hearing lately is just starting a side project. Yes, this is a thing I preach every single day. What is a good way to come up with ideas for a side project? Choose something you're passionate about and that you can stick with long term. And you can go from there, I think. And if you can turn $1 with it, that's always go from there. I mean, wasted because society doesn't advance the man hours put into web development. I don't think that's true at all. I think good developers are rewarded if they're willing to leave their job. The problem is that a lot of times people have this weird loyalty thing built into themselves, and I don't necessarily feel comfortable talking about this, but I'll tell you like it is just because I'm an employee and I'm not trying to leave my job, but I will tell you that statistically speaking, you are likely to get a raise that's much larger than the raise at your current work if you go and leave for another company. And a lot of times the hours that you're putting in, that you're studying in web development, you should be saying, hey, if I don't get a $10,000 raise this year, that company across the street will give it to me, and go from there. So That's the truth, is that you might get a 5 to 6% raise, which might be high by most people's standards in software, but assuming you don't get promoted, that is. But you would definitely get on average a 20% raise sometimes, if not more, depending on where you are in your career, to go to another company. So what do you think 2018 will offer? Will PHP still be in demand, or will JavaScript fall off? I think both are going to be fine. I think if you are learning PHP, that you need to make sure you learn Laravel. It's the only PHP framework that's growing in popularity. Yeah, I mean, there's so many people who stay in dev roles, in junior roles, where they were making X amount of dollars. That was, you know, they had no idea, right? They don't follow the market. They don't look at it every day. They don't, you know. What would you say is the best path to land a web developer job in 2017? Well, Jim, if I remember from our previous conversation, I think your main issue was that you said you had bad social skills. So for you, I'd suggest working on that. But I also would say if you're interested in front-end development, you need to pick up Angular or React. You need to have projects in them and go from there. What operating system do I use? I use Windows. Yeah. In terms of front-end development, which is what I do Angular. Just be familiar with maybe a little bit of BootStrap, JavaScript, obviously, a little bit of jQuery, and definitely the current version of Angular or React. React has Redux, it has native, it has a few other things. But get familiar with testing as well. Get familiar with maybe some of the version control, such as Git. What else? I know you hate PHP, but I like to ask what the best learning resource is. Let me see if the site is still up. I'll give our boy some love here. So there's this YouTuber called Code Course, and if you go to codecourse.com, he has hundreds of videos on PHP for a low price of, how much is he charging a month? For a low price of €6 a month or 60 euros a year. But he's probably the go-to PHP. He's been doing PHP for about 10 years. His videos are excellent. I would recommend that. His stuff. Codecourse.com and youtube.com/codecourse. As a junior dev on his first job, would you be okay to leave after 6 months for a better paying job, or should you stay 1 minute? I think you should leave at 6 months, but 1 year minimum is fine as well. What is the best way to build a social networking website? Just get started and make it better as you go. If you're learning for the first time, you should be learning the current version of Angular, which would be Angular 2, currently referred to as Angular, which they're technically on version 5. You found out about me about 20 minutes ago on Engineer Truth. Is Matt live streaming right now? Is he out there doing his thing, or were you watching a video? Is jQuery worth learning? You should be familiar with jQuery, but it's not what's going to land you a web development job. You might get a web design job. jQuery is like one of those frameworks that's used now by web designers who never wanted to get better in web development. I mean, there are a lot of websites that use jQuery, but in terms of like high-end web dev jobs, you're not going to get too much jQuery. jQuery is like the stuff used by developers who don't study anymore. That's one way I would put it. Am I going to pick up blockchain programming? Yes, in 6 months. Well, my plan was to start learning blockchain in about 6 months. After I dove into JavaScript and Angular, and I still plan to do that, but it also depends on how busy I am with finishing up the degree. So, should we build static pages with these frameworks as portfolio projects? The whole point of Angular is to build dynamic things, so you should build something dynamic. Arnaldo Gonzalez, I don't think web devs have anything to fear from Wix or WordPress. I think what sites are getting taken for that sort of stuff is really at the end of the day, the mom and pop shops that are building, static content. But in terms of an actual like global company that needs to have certain in-house tools, half the development I do is just building tools for our other departments, and I just don't see it ever happening. I think what's going to happen is a lot of web designers are going to go into WordPress, and but in terms of developers, not so much. I don't know Linux or AWS. I mean, if you're interested in AI programming, there's a role in it. It's not web development, but it's definitely something that you could learn. What type of projects do you think developers want to see when they're hiring competent people? I think they want to see unique projects, stuff that aren't clones of things, to be honest. Stuff that said, hey, I created a project based off this topic because it's a passion of mine, and I updated and I built this feature for it. Something that's unique, man. That's really what it is. I'm sure building a clone of Airbnb looks great on a resume, and it is. It's fine. But I would highly suggest building your own custom side project on top of that as well. You're going to need a front end, Omar. You're going to need a back end. I mean, it really just depends on how you want to deliver it and what the social network is. I don't know, Jim. I would say when it comes to personal projects, man, it's just being unique and building your own thing and constantly updating it and seeing the latest stuff and working with the latest technologies is going to be what's going to impress those hiring managers, as well as just a passion for you as a developer. What do I think about Vue.js? I think there's no jobs in it, so I don't really worry about it. As a beginner, should I only focus in one programming language? Yes. Well, I mean, honestly, stop waiting, man. Just start something. Decide what you want to build and go from there. It's a lot of times people get so worried about what they're building. Like, even if you build something and it fails, you'll have learned so much just by building it than never building anything at all. And maybe the second one is the one that's really popping off. And a lot of people just don't build anything, though. Yeah, I would say most people just need to have a little bit more confidence too, myself included. The tech lead told me that one of the reasons I have junior in my title Even though I think I shouldn't have junior, or I could maybe go by without it, is because in my interview I wasn't confident enough. So it's something that I'm trying to work on as a developer myself. I know what I want to build. Our project just seems so huge. Piece by piece, man. That's how you start. You build out one thing, keep working on it. Do you think a mobile app is more impressive than a web app? It is if you're trying to be a mobile developer. Have you ever burnt out often? I burn out. I've been burnt out for like the last 2 weeks, which is probably why I don't have a video coming out today. Part of that was getting sick and getting overwhelmed. I feel much better now though, but I don't burn out too often. No. I have heard of the book You Don't Know JS. It's a very good book. Roman, that's my boy Roman right there. Roman Pozo, man, always showing up. My boy Roman. Do you think it's worth investing some time in basic mathematics? If you can't do college level algebra, yes. That's essentially where you need to be as at least in a front end developer, I would say, and most development, depending on this field you're in and the subject matter. If you're doing data analytics or very complex back end that requires certain algorithms, you're going to need to be better. But on average, you need to be at a college algebra level. Are there any programming side projects you're working on now? Yes. I am building a web application that's going to house a bunch of mini developer tools. So like if you ever had to parse a JSON, I have a JSON parser I built. Although it's not complete, it parses it as text, but it doesn't collapse. I have to add that feature. And there's also a HTML condenser minifier. I have to do a CSS version. So all these little tiny tools, maybe a text transformer, that is what I'll be doing. Or that is what I'm currently building. I'm also building as I deep dive through JavaScript, doing about 500 videos on methods and everything else. Dylan, I know you've talked about free code camp. Do you think any web developer should go through it or skip it? Can it help you get hired? I can tell you that what actually helps you get hired is what you learn and what you build on your own. I can tell you for me, I think it was something I put on my resume that attracted people to show that I was always learning, always working on things. But more than anything else, it just made me a better developer. Jim, don't you have a CS degree? I'm sorry, I might be confusing you, Jim, with somebody else, but I could have sworn we've had a similar talk. Do you not have a CS degree? Yeah, a bachelor's degree in software development. Yeah, I mean that should be enough, but I think where you may be lacking is in the interpersonal communication skills as well as in projects. If you don't have any projects that are impressive, and impressive is a very loose word. If you don't have any projects that are unique, it's going to be hard for you. But honestly, Jim, I would say go and maybe try and take some courses on speaking, feeling comfortable, breaking out of the shell a little bit. And I say this knowing that it's very difficult. I am an introvert by nature. I know it's a little bit strange because I'm talking. I have 700 videos on YouTube, right? But only recently have I kind of been a much more charismatic or much more talkative individual. For the majority of my life, I've been closed off to others, and I don't really like talking with people. I don't like meeting new people. I totally understand is what I'm trying to say. But honestly, it will help you so much as a developer if you can work on your communication skills and go from there. So dynamic pages, web pages work with certain frameworks, and the page works as portfolio projects to present for jobs. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're building a web app today, it needs to be dynamic in general. That's the whole point of what these frameworks do. They allow us to build web applications that can perform a lot of stuff without changing pages and do so dynamically based off what the data and the states are. Just clicking functions, LOL. I mean, it could depend. If it has authentication, displaying certain things, storing stuff in local storage, hovering over stuff, clicking stuff, disabling buttons and forms if the data is not properly filled out, displaying error messages in the forms if the data is not properly filled out. It just really depends, I guess is what I'm trying to say. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, a little shout out love to myself. Please join our Facebook group, Code Tech and Caffeine. If you want to support me at Patreon, it's patreon.com/codingtutorials360, or you could support me through Super Chat as well. Your boy's trying to get an edumacation. And nowadays, to get an edumacation in the United States, you have to take out loans and things like that. Luckily, I am financially able to not take out loans, but I will be eating top ramen for about a year. So if you don't want to see me die of early heart attack, send me your monies today. No, but no. But one thing I would say is I just want to harp on the fact of doing unique projects. And if you go to my website, codingtutorials360.com, you'll see a couple of things that I built. I built all these pages. This was my first AngularJS project. And one thing that I made that unique, it's just a web page built in AngularJS. It's not built in a very great way of AngularJS. Again, it's the first thing I ever built. But one thing that I did to make it unique for me was I connected the YouTube API. I took the time to research the YouTube API and connect various aspects of it. So you can do stuff like that where it's not super complicated stuff, but it is unique that will make people appreciate it. Do you think it would help me to get a programming mentor? I've been trying to find one of those, and have I got a mentor? I wouldn't say I necessarily have a mentor. I would say that I have people who I respect that I ask questions of who are senior developers and pick their brains as much as I can before they get annoyed with me. Oftentimes to the point where they get annoyed with me and then leave them alone. But I've never really had a mentor. The closest thing I had to a mentor is Free Code Camp. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I've suggested to you about the communication issues, but how often do you actually code? Are you coding every day? Are you building things every day? Because if you're coding every day, you have a portfolio because you haven't run out of things to do. You'll never run out of things to do, but you've at least built some stuff. Is there stuff on your GitHub? Do you have a portfolio website where people can view your portfolio? How's your LinkedIn doing? How's your resume look? All this sort of basic stuff. But you should have projects built that are unique to you if you're coding every day. It just happens because you're running out of things to do. Because you can't watch another Angular tutorial because you know Angular because you watched 5 fucking tutorials on it, right? So I get it. Living that poor life. No, it's so luckily it's only going to be about $7,000 a year for Western Governors University, which is kind of nice. I am a no-skilled, dirty Protoss player. That's although I haven't played in a while. So here's the thing. Here's what I don't understand, Jim. How do you get a bachelor's in software development and still be in the learning stage of going through tutorials? How does that happen? And it could just be that I don't understand what a bachelor's in software development actually entails. But to me, to get a bachelor's in software development, there has to be some fucking software that you coded, right? Or am I crazy? I'm your fucking hero. Thank you, Morgan. I appreciate that. Plan attending Dev Mountain next year? Good for you, man. Got a picture of my mother in my wallet. I got a picture of your mother in my wallet too. Do I have an academic degree? I do not. So do you not do any coding in a software development? Like, I don't understand. How can it not be a computer science related degree? I understand it's not a computer science degree. It's a software development degree. Oh, look. I totally Hey, here's the thing, Jay. Okay, I see where you're coming from. You didn't do anything outside of your degree. All right, that's what's going on right now. I get it. Well, why aren't you doing Java and C++? If you did Java and C++, there's a ton of Java jobs and there's a ton of C++ jobs, and they pay very well. Salsa Dude, happy Thanksgiving to you too. I have not even heard of Weeks, W-E-E-X. Sorry, man. Happy Black Friday to everybody, as always. So here's the thing, Jim. I remember us having a very similar conversation on a live stream, and it had to be like 6 months ago. It was a while back. You should have progressed since then. To make a button a link, you're gonna want to make a anchor tag. Either wrap the button in an anchor tag or make an anchor tag styled like a button. Johnny B, don't be throwing on click at a guy who's asking how to make something an anchor tag. He's not ready for on click. How many advertisements did I get your email for coding related deals? Too many. Too many. I just delete them all. I don't care. I just buy. I mean, like a course is like $15 at most, right? So I don't know. I'm not. Luckily, financially, I'm at a point now where I don't worry about spending $15. And one course can keep you good for a while, right? The course that I'm working through in Angular has 26 hours of video. So that $15 is going to keep me going for a while. Well, Jim, I'm sorry to hear about your health issues, but I think I don't like Java either, so I get it. But I think you just got to put in the time, man. When I dropped out of college, I took a job as a technology trainer at this software company. I was studying 3 to 4 hours every day during the weekdays, and like 8 to like 14 hours on a Saturday and a Sunday, and I don't know how much work you're putting in, but I found just that sort of dedication was what made it for me to get by without a degree. I can only imagine, which is one of the reasons I'm going back to school, where I would be with a software development degree. Swear to God, I'm gonna hit your Patreon as soon as I get it. Hey, I hope so, man. That'd be the dream. I get a solid amount. I get about $50 a month, which is appreciated. It covers my website. It covers my freaking Adobe is so expensive, man. It is unbelievably expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I might start looking for an alternative pretty soon. Is the A and A stand for Ahrefs stand for anchor? Yes. What are my views on net neutrality? I think sane. I think the internet should stay essentially even for everybody. And otherwise, it's exactly everything that's going to happen is going to happen. There's going to be slow lanes, there's going to be fast lanes, and it's going to create new businesses starting up, which pretty much every new business nowadays is going to have a need for a fast internet connection. When it comes to software, everything is connected to the internet. So, I mean, I think we need to keep it the way it is, but it doesn't look like that's going to be it. Is it possible to land a job in 3 months? It depends how hard you're working, man. What happened to the code slogan? Code everything. I think I accidentally deleted it on the intro and never went back to put it in. Is what happened. Whopper or Big Mac, bro? We all know it's the Whopper, baby. I had one today. 2 for $5, baby. Extra for cheese, though. Extra for cheese. We were out today. Doing some Black Friday shopping. Got hungry. We got the. I don't know why I got so hype on the Whopper, but but definitely the Whopper over the Big Mac. So what's up with the gym? What's up is I have an injury in my hand, and I need to go to the doctor. That's what's up with the gym. What's up is your boy's never been fatter and more out of shape in his life. That's what's up. He's becoming a stereotype of a developer. Excuses? Trust me, man. Although I need to go. Now I'm sounding like Jim with his software development degree. I'm making excuses. No, I'm just giving you a hard time, Jim. No, I should work out. You're right. No. I've definitely gained a few pounds, man. You're waiting on the Coding Babes collab? Hey, aren't they on Pornhub now? They don't do YouTube anymore? Is that where they're doing? I don't know. I don't know if I, as an employee, I can collab with them on their platform of choice. So yeah, I know I've been putting on a little bit of. We've been stacking gains, baby. That's what someone in the chat told me. So I don't put on weight. When you're a beast, you stack gains. So we stacking gains, all right? This has been fun today. Get to do this too often. How do you feel about relocation? Well, considering I relocated to Florida from California, I would definitely take a role. So you've had 6 job offers, but you'd like to stay in Seattle, Washington. You know what, man? This is the shit that pisses me off. Here you're over here yelling about I can't get a job, but you've had 6 job offers in different states. Take a job in a different state, go get some years of experience because that's what's really important. From there, go and leave back to Seattle, Washington. Just go get some job experience, get better, come back and go home, man. Oh my goodness. Did I get relocation when I moved? I got offered $5,000 for a relocation package. I turned it down for a $5,000 higher salary. So, I would say relocation is kind of a standard thing for most roles. Even if it's not, just get a higher salary. So, long term, in terms of what I wanted was more money. So, I got offered, said, hey, we'll give you basically the deal for my relocation was this, $5,000, cash in your pocket. You get it in your first paycheck. Was it your first paycheck or before 2 weeks before your first paycheck? I forget what it was, but you know. So, they said, look, we can give you $5,000 cash, and the contingency on that money is you have to work for us for 2 years. Essentially, every month that you work with us, we take off $250. So if I leave at 1 year, which coincidentally was what I did, I would owe the company $2,500. Now, On the other side, you could take a $5,000 higher salary, and we don't have any sort of contingency like that. And that was what I decided to do. Now, the reason that I took that was, one, I prefer $5,000 every year for the rest of my life to get a higher salary. And two, I understood that there was a decent chance that I may be jumping jobs if this job didn't work out. I didn't know that I wanted to work in the military contracting industry. And I didn't know that if I know the job market well enough to know that, especially in your field, in this field, that you can get larger raises sometimes when leaving. So I didn't know that I would. I was planning on staying wherever I was at for several years, but I didn't want to put myself in a position where I couldn't. And to me, in terms of the short term, it sucked, but in terms of the long term, it's a better choice. Perhaps homeboy has a girl who can't relocate. That's where I'm at. I relocated when I left. So I don't have any, look, leave your man, leave your woman, and do what's best for you, right? So this is all true, by the way. I don't think I'm bullshitting. I went to Florida. I told April I'm taking the job in Florida, which, by the way, California, Florida, basically as far as you can get while still being in the United States of America. And I said, look, I'm going to Florida. I'm going. I've been wanting to get out of California forever. I hope you come with me. She said, I'm going to think about it, Dylan. I went. She didn't say she was going to come down after. She didn't guarantee me nothing. Your boy went down there, said, look, I'm here. I'm going to get us an apartment. Come on down. I'll take care of you. I'll pay your bills when you get down here, because I know you don't have a job. I know you don't have too much money saved up. Come on down. I hope you come. She did. But if she didn't, this would be a different dynamic that we're talking about right now. But my thing is, I don't think that's a good enough excuse. It's not a good enough excuse to say, hey, I'm so childish that I am so in love that I'm going to shoot myself in the foot in order to satisfy the heart and the penis or the genitalia regions. I don't believe in that. I think you need to do what's the best decision for you. And it's the best decision for you when you're just getting started. You know, if it's love, baby, it will work out coast to coast. It'll be like some software tech Romeo and Juliet. What I'm saying is, look out for yourself and get your experience, get started, right? So if you're staying in an area because your man or woman won't cut it, you need to look at your priorities different. Favorite programming project, personal and professional, I built? I would say my YouTube channel, if that counts. Yeah, here's the thing, guys, is like, would it have sucked if she didn't come down? Yeah, I was on the phone talking to her, convincing her, hey, come on down. Come on down. I was like, the price is right. I was like, come on down, baby. You know, I was trying to get her down here. But if it didn't work out, it didn't work out, right? She has to leave her family, as I did. She had to leave her job, as I did, right? And go into, you know, live where she knows nobody. And it's a total risk, but you need to take risks sometimes. Yeah. Kelvin says, love don't pay the bills until they do sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But you shouldn't be doing that sort of stuff. But what I'm trying to say, guys, is be willing to relocate, be willing to take a risk, especially in the beginning, right? I don't plan to live and die in Florida. I came down to Florida. I said, 5-10 years. And from there, I will continue on and see what's up. So, you know, I've only been here for a year. I got at least 4 more in here before I'm even thinking about relocating or something like that. So I got down last year, about October, the first week of October. My first day at work for my previous job was October 3rd. So I've been here about 13 months. Do I miss California? The only thing I miss from California is Mexican food. They don't seem to have a lot of it, and they don't have very good food in Florida, in my opinion. But I don't miss California. No. The Doge says he's learned a lot. I'm good, man. Hopefully you remember it. Short-term memory's on point, right? Am I using a central oil diffuser? I am. You know what? I'm gonna let you guys know a secret right now. You guys aren't gonna believe me, but when I went to New Orleans, I was looking for dev jobs, and I went into a voodoo store. Right? I went into a voodoo store, and I said, I need something that's gonna help me get a job. They said, we got you. So they hooked me up with it's gonna look the Job Mojo oil and the Job Mojo incense, right? And not only did I get a job, 3 weeks later, I got a job for more money than I thought I was gonna get paid. That's the secret right here, boys. You gotta get that Job Mojo oil. Forget all that studying and stuff and building projects. Work on communication, having a good portfolio. Just hook yourself up with that short-term Job Mojo oil and go from there. Yeah, guys, if you haven't already, do take the time to sign a the net neutrality petition, please. I think it's called the placebo effect. Look, man, I don't believe in it 100%. I'm just saying it worked. All right. I'm just saying, I put some in right now. If I get a raise on Monday, we'll know it works, right? If I got a raise on Monday, it'd be so stunning. Because I don't know, I haven't even had my 3-month review. Like, you're killing it. I was just like, look, I'm just pouring this in your water now because that's going to get me a promotion. Do I think it'll go true, the net neutrality? I hope not, man. I really am just not trying to think about it. I just hope not. We have about 30 actual developers, I would say. Not counting project managers or BAs or quality assurance. DevOps. Thing on my left cheek? Do you work for a startup or mid-sized company? I work for a large multinational company. If you're talking about that's a rubber band. $29. I would say. Yes, 29 out of the 30. Is DevOps really killing the developer? No, DevOps is just kind of a different type of developer. They're more so, they do development depending on the role, but they are more focused on deploying and things like that. So it's a different type of developer. That's all. It's just a different specialization, right? Just like front end and back end, you have DevOps, which are more focused on delivering code and making sure shit don't break, which is just as important. Yeah, I mean, I apply for jobs and I also go through recruiters when I was looking. And what I found as a junior developer, someone trying to get their first role, recruiters don't really do jack. What's the best way to practice working with APIs? To work with APIs, build projects that use them. Um, I mean, really, do get calls with APIs that you're comfortable with. Use, post puts, deletes. Just get comfortable with that. Do I feel developers are going to be outsourced by the rise of machines? No. Not in any time of our lives. I have not tried the Xvideo API now. VR programming. Here's the thing, guys. I have a I have a HTC Vive, and it's fun in gaming, but I don't know what else you would use it for, other than maybe movies. I don't know that it's going to. I I, I honestly couldn't tell you if it's a lucrative market or not. I'm sure it's a market for sure, but I don't know enough about to tell you. But from a user, I don't see it replacing monitors. I don't see it replacing televisions. I see game, and I don't even see it blowing up with gaming. What is the opposite of AI? About 75% of the American population. I haven't been looking at jobs, so I couldn't tell you if there's jobs for WebAssembly. I'm sure there are. How many I could tell you, or for what type of company. It's just not something that. So when I was applying for jobs, like 3 to 6 months back, I was looking at it. I didn't see too much WebAssembly stuff, but I was also looking for front end web development, and I'm not sure if WebAssembly falls into that or not, but I haven't seen that yet. What do I think about the sound recognition field like Alexa and Google Home? I actually today bought a Google Home and Google Home Mini. I really like it, man. I'm all about the smart home stuff. I don't really have any smart home stuff yet. I was kind of holding off on buying it, and it was just a good deal. I was like, all right, let's go treat ourselves. I will be getting some smart lights, a smart thermostat, smart locks eventually, all that sort of stuff. But I'm a big fan. So that, I mean, that will be kind of how I build out my house. So right now I just have an apartment, so we'll probably just do lights and go from there. How good would you consider yourself at JavaScript? How good at JavaScript were you before learning frameworks? I honestly don't know. I don't know, man. I think I'm okay at JavaScript. I don't think I'm great. I don't know. It's so hard to compare yourself to other people. Like, I think I'm a decent junior developer. I don't know if I fall into a senior developer category. It's hard to say that. I would say if I was to categorize myself as somewhere at a intermediate developer level. How long did your job search take you to get your current job? About 3 months. I studied for about 3 months and started applying when I started studying. I took some time off from applying in that 3 months, just because I got so frustrated dealing with recruiters and dealing with these stupid interview processes, and but like the programming field, do you think that field will be more lucrative in the future than web development? So, dude, I don't know if you're talking about VR, but I think a lot of fields will be. And here's the thing, guys: if you learn. If you become a developer, front-end developer, you can just study other things, build projects and other things, and get jobs in those other technologies. You should have no problem learning it. So I wouldn't worry too much. If you like web dev and you're thinking, oh, well, I want to jump to a field that makes more money, just study that when you get off work and then do it. Leave the job a year later for that role. What part of LA did I live in? I lived near downtown Los Angeles. I've also lived near, I've lived in, depending on if you just count LA, near downtown LA. Oh, Alexa and Google Home sound recognition. I mean, I think building apps for that is going to be something that's going to be just become part of the norm. I just think it's another skill to have. I don't know how well that scales, but I'm sure it's just an app at the end of the day. April will never leave you. You make too much money, and most guys your age make $22,000 a year. At 30 years old, most people make $22,000 a year. You need to start questioning yourself. April's never cared how much money I make. She has taken me from when I've been unemployed, delivering pizzas, to miserable to be around. Money is not something she's ever concerned herself with. She ain't leaving because of the baby leg. No. Yeah, no. So she is, April and I have been dating for 7 years, and so she ain't leaving because I actually have her chained down. She's in it for the long haul, man. So she would feel like that's why you can't marry them. So they always have something to look forward to and something they have to have. She'd be too bitter. That's why you can't marry her. Yeah. She did say that if we ever broke up, she's taking the cats though. So I definitely can't leave her. I love those damn cats. He's being sarcastic, Jim. I'm good, BS2I. How are you? Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. We were talking about money the other day, and if she was working still, what do top developers make, or does that vary too often? It depends on if you're working, what city you're working in. But if we want to give a general feel, I think 100,000 is a very good feel. I would say that I think a lot of senior developers not working in like a San Francisco or a New York would easily probably get 120K, if not more. But it definitely depends. Anything new I'm working on? Right now, I'm deep diving into JavaScript. So I'm working on some videos going through the documentation. And I'm also working on a bunch of tools that are going to be on a site that I'm working on. Yeah. So I had a video and I couldn't put it out because it was too similar to the top 5 ways not to learn to code, but it was called the top 5 things I'm not thankful for, and it was supposed to be like a Thanksgiving video. But it was Maybe I'll put it out. But it was another not video. I love making those not videos. I just have to make sure they come out appropriate. What is your take on a first job? Should I be aiming for a startup, midsize, or large corporation? You should be aiming to apply to all of them and hope one of them takes you, even if it's out of state, even if it's not in what you want to learn. And you shouldn't care about advancement. You shouldn't care about growth or additional training. You should be taking the role. You should come home every day and you should be studying in the things that you want. You should be leaving that job in a year and leave for a nice raise. That's what you should probably be doing. What is a funny way I can tell them? Well, it's not uncommon for companies to have people bill them in 15-minute increments. You know, a lot of times if you're doing contract work, you're getting maybe $90 to $150 an hour. So it just depends. If you have an existing thing that you charge at, or if you don't want the role, you say, hey, I can politely decline. If you have someone you can recommend to send their way, offer to do that. You should never charge a flat fee, unless you're building something super basic. Yeah. Yeah. Salsa Dude says, hey, Dylan, how come you don't have a donate section during the live stream? Would I like to help out? Well, you can. If you look in the chat, there is a $sign. It will actually allow you to donate money, and as well as put a comment in there to make sure that everyone can see your question, see your comment, and I, of course, will answer it because your boy is a sellout. I try to answer all questions. Some get through, some don't. But you will definitely get an answer if you send me money. But yeah, you can donate through the $sign that says Super Chat. That's one way for you to donate money. Does your employer pay for additional courses you take to improve your tech skill set? No. But the course I bought is $15. They're not paying for my degree either. But it will make me more valuable, make it easier for me to be promoted, and you know, make me worth more in theory. So perhaps I'll have more leverage when it comes to talk about skill set and compensation. When you got your first web dev role, have you done any serious damage to a company or failed at anything really bad? I don't know that. I don't think so. No. You mentioned that you don't have an academic degree. Do you think having a master's degree would put you in a better position, or even a solid CS degree? Of course it would. You're talking about adding something that adds traditional value, and a lot of companies, yeah, they'll hire you to be a junior dev, a senior dev, but it's going to be, the harder it is, the more that you get into management, the more that you go to a tech lead, to architect. It's not impossible, but it's definitely, all that stuff makes it easier. Do you ever get friends or family to ask you for help in web development? If so, what do you charge them? A lot of times, I get the, hey, I had this idea, and then they'll send me this idea, and I'll be like, look, I don't know anything about mobile development, or I can recommend, or it's possible, but I don't have the time. And honestly, I charge $90 an hour as a freelancer, and very few people pay that. So that usually shuts the conversation down entirely. I've had friends, and now I think about it, I've had several over the years. And even then, I think I was charging like $50 an hour. Now I charge 90, and they wouldn't pay for 50. So yes, coding skills is greater than a degree. Knowing people is greater than a degree. Knowing people, having coding skills, and having a degree is the best of everything. So that's what I'm trying to do. How can I become a freelancer? Go get 5 years experience, become a senior developer, and then start getting a contract role. What about having a degree that is not IT related? It's better than no degree. So, I mean, that's the truth of the matter. All right, guys, I'm getting a little sleepy. I need to go eat. I appreciate all of you watching. Again, if you want to support me, you can by going to patreon.com/codingtutorials360. I hope that you are having a wonderful time. You can donate as well. I hope that I helped answer some of your questions. I had some fun in the process. I am going to probably eat and then work on some side project stuff. I don't know. I was also thinking about taking it easy and not doing any of that. April made me not work at all yesterday, and I don't know if now I've officially become lazy. But now I feel like I haven't done too much. But I appreciate y'all. I hope you enjoy these weekly live streams. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.